The Fir Tree. A small fir tree lived in the woods. The sun shone on him, and there was much fresh air. Many tall trees, both pines and firs, grew around him. But the little fir tree wanted to be a big tree very much. He did not think about the warm sun or the fresh air. He did not care for the children who played in the woods, looking for strawberries. The children often came with berries and said, "Oh, how pretty he is. What a nice little fir." But the tree did not like to hear this. After 1 year, he grew a lot. After another year, he was even taller. Fir trees show their age by their new shoots. "Oh, I wish I were as tall as the other trees," he sighed. "Then I could spread my branches. I could see the wide world. Birds would build nests in my branches. When the wind blew, I could bend like the others." The sun, the birds, and the colorful clouds did not make the little tree happy. In winter, when snow covered the ground, a rabbit often jumped over the little tree. This made him angry. After 2 winters, the tree was so big that the rabbit had to go around it. To grow and grow, to get older and be tall, the tree thought, that is the best thing. In autumn, woodcutters came and cut down some of the biggest trees. This happened every year. The young fir tree, which was now quite big, shook when he saw this. The big trees fell with a loud noise. Their branches were cut off. They looked long and bare. They were put on carts, and horses pulled them out of the wood. Where did they go? What happened to them? In spring, when the swallows and storks came, the tree asked them, "Do you know where they went? Have you seen them?" The swallows did not know. But the stork thought and nodded his head. He said, "Yes, I think so. I saw many ships when I flew from Egypt. On the ships were tall poles. I think they smelled like fir. You will be happy because they stood up very tall. Oh, I wish I were old enough to fly over the sea. What does the sea look like?" "That would take a long time to tell," said the stork, and he flew away. "Be happy in your growth," said the sunbeams. "Be happy in your strong growth and the fresh life inside you." The wind kissed the tree, and the dew cried over him. But the fir tree did not understand. When Christmas came, very young trees were cut down. These trees were often not as big or as old as the fir tree, who always wanted to leave. These young trees, the nicest ones, kept their branches. They were put on carts, and horses pulled them out of the wood. "Where are they going?" asked the fir tree. "They are not taller than me." One was even shorter. "Why do they keep their branches?" "Where are they going?" "We know. We know," chirped the sparrows. "We looked in the windows in the town. We know where they go. The most beautiful things are waiting for them. We looked through the windows and saw them in the middle of a warm room. They were decorated with gold apples, cookies, toys, and many lights." "And then?" asked the fir tree, shaking. "And then? What happens next?" "We did not see anything more. It was so beautiful. I want to know if I will have such a great life," cried the tree, happy. "That is even better than going over the sea. How I want this. I wish Christmas would come. I am tall now, and my branches spread like the others that were taken last year. Oh, I wish I were on the cart now. I wish I were in the warm room with all the beautiful things. Yes, something better, something even grander, must happen after that. Why else would they decorate me? Something better, something grander, must come, but what? Oh, I want it so much. I don't know what is wrong with me." "Be happy with us," said the air and the sunlight. "Be happy in your fresh youth." But the tree was not happy at all. He grew and grew, and he was green in winter and summer. People who saw him said, "What a fine tree." Near Christmas, he was one of the first trees cut down. The axe cut deep into him. The tree fell to the ground with a sigh. He felt a sharp pain. It was like fainting. He could not think of happiness. He was sad to leave his home, the place where he grew up. He knew he would never see his old friends, the small bushes and flowers, again. Maybe not even the birds. Leaving was not good. The tree woke up when he was put in a yard with other trees. He heard a man say, "That one is great. We don't want the others." Then 2 servants in fine clothes carried the fir tree into a large, beautiful room. Pictures were on the walls. Near a white stove were 2 large Chinese vases with lions on them. There were also big chairs, soft sofas, and large tables with picture books and toys. The children said they were worth a lot of money. The fir tree was put in a barrel of sand. No one could see the barrel because green cloth covered it. It stood on a colorful rug. Oh! How the tree shook! What would happen? The servants and young ladies decorated it. They hung small nets of colored paper on a branch, filled with candies. Gold apples and nuts hung on other branches, looking like they grew there. Small blue and white candles were placed among the leaves. Dolls that looked like people, which the tree had never seen, were among the leaves. A big gold star was at the very top. It was truly beautiful, beyond words. This evening, they all said, "How it will shine this evening." Oh, thought the tree. If only evening would come. If only the candles were lit. And then I wonder what will happen. Maybe the other trees from the forest will come to see me. Maybe the sparrows will tap on the windows. I wonder if I will grow roots here and stay covered with decorations all winter and summer. He knew a lot about what would happen, but he was so impatient that he got a backache from wanting it so much. For trees, this is like a headache for us. The candles were lit. What brightness! What beauty! The tree shook so much that one of the candles set fire to a leaf. It burned brightly. "Help! Help!" cried the young ladies, and they quickly put out the fire. Now the tree did not even dare to shake. What a state he was in! He was so worried he would lose some of his beauty. He was confused by all the light and shine. Then 2 doors opened, and many children ran in as if they would knock over the tree. The older people followed quietly. The little ones stood still for a moment. Then they shouted, and the whole room echoed with their joy. They danced around the tree. They pulled off one gift after another. What are they doing? Thought the tree. What will happen now? The lights burned down to the branches. As they burned down, they were put out one by one. Then the children were allowed to take things from the tree. They fell on it so hard that all its branches cracked. If it had not been held firmly, it would have fallen down. The children danced with their beautiful toys. No one looked at the tree except the old nurse. She looked between the branches, but it was only to see if any figs or apples were left. "A story! A story!" cried the children, pulling a small, plump man to the tree. He sat under it and said, "Now we are in the shade, and the tree can listen too. But I will tell only one story." "Which will you have?" "The one about Ivdiavadi, or about Humpadumpy, who fell downstairs, but became king and married the princess." Ivdiavadi, some cried. Humpadumpy, others cried. There was much shouting. The fir tree alone was quiet. He thought, am I not supposed to shout too? Am I not supposed to do anything? He was part of the group and had done what he was supposed to do. And the man told about Humpadumpy, who fell down, but became king and married the princess. The children clapped their hands and cried, "Oh, go on. Please go on." They also wanted to hear about Ivdiavadi. But the small man only told them about Humperdinck. The fir tree stood still and thought deeply. The birds in the wood had never told a story like this. Humperdinck fell downstairs and still married the princess. Yes, yes. That's how things are, thought the fir tree. He believed it all because the man who told the story looked so good. Well, well. Who knows, maybe I will fall downstairs too and get a princess as a wife. He looked forward to the next day, hoping to be decorated again with lights, toys, fruits, and shiny things. I won't shake tomorrow, thought the fir tree. I will fully enjoy all my beauty. Tomorrow I will hear the story of Humperdinck again, and maybe Ivdiavadi too. The tree stood still and thought deeply all night. In the morning, the servant and the maid came in. Now the beauty will begin again, thought the fir. But they pulled him out of the room, up the stairs, into the attic. Here, in a dark corner where no sunlight could enter, they left him. What does this mean, thought the tree. What will I do here? What will I hear now, I wonder? He leaned against the wall, thinking. He had much time to think. Days and nights passed, and no one came. When someone finally did come, it was only to put some big boxes in a corner, out of the way. The tree was completely hidden. It seemed as if he had been forgotten. It is winter outside now, thought the tree. The ground is hard and covered with snow. People cannot plant me now. So I have been put here for shelter until spring. How kind that is. How good people are, after all. If only it were not so dark here, and so very lonely. Not even a rabbit. And in the woods, it was so nice when the snow was on the ground, and the rabbit jumped by. Yes, even when he jumped over me. But I did not like it then. It is truly very lonely here. Squeak. Squeak, said a small mouse, peeking out of his hole. Then another small one came. They sniffed around the fir tree and rustled among the branches. It is terribly cold, said the mouse. But for that, it would be lovely here, old fir, wouldn't it? I am not old at all, said the fir tree. Many trees are much older than me. Where do you come from? Asked the mice. And what can you do? They were very curious. Tell us about the most beautiful place on earth. Have you never been there? Have you never been in the pantry, where cheeses are on the shelves and hams hang from above? Where one dances on candles? That place where one goes in thin and comes out fat and round. I know no such place, said the tree. But I know the wood, where the sun shines and where the little birds sing. And then he told all about his youth. The little mice had never heard anything like it before. They listened and said, well, truly. How much you have seen. How happy you must have been. I, said the fir tree, thinking about what he had told. Yes, those were truly happy times. And then he told about Christmas Eve, when he was decorated with cakes and candles. Oh, said the little mice, how lucky you have been, old fir tree. I am not old at all, he said. I came from the wood this winter. I am in my best time, and I am only a bit short for my age. What wonderful stories you know, said the mice. The next night, they came with 4 other small mice to hear what the tree told. The more he told, the more he remembered. It seemed as if those times had truly been happy. But they may still come, they may still come. Humperdinck fell downstairs and still got a princess. He thought about a nice small birch tree growing in the woods. To the fir, that would be a truly lovely princess. Who is Humperdinck? Asked the mice. So the fir tree told the whole fairy tale. He remembered every single word. The little mice jumped for joy all the way to the top of the tree. The next night, 2 more mice came. On Sunday, 2 rats even came. But they said the stories were not interesting, which upset the little mice. And they, too, now began to think the stories were not so amusing. "Do you know only one story?" asked the rats. "Only that one," answered the tree. "I heard it on my happiest evening. But I did not know then how happy I was. It is a very silly story. Don't you know one about bacon and candles? Can't you tell any pantry stories?" "No," said the tree. "Then goodbye," said the rats, and they went home. At last, the little mice also stayed away. The tree sighed, after all. It was very nice when the smooth little mice sat around me and listened to what I told them. Now that is over too. But I will be careful to enjoy myself when I am brought out again. But when would that be? One morning, many people came and worked in the attic. The boxes were moved. The tree was pulled out and thrown rather hard, it is true, onto the floor. But a man pulled him towards the stairs, where the daylight shone. Now a happy life will begin again, thought the tree. He felt the fresh air, the first sunbeam. And now he was out in the yard. Everything happened so quickly. There was so much going on around him. The tree completely forgot to look at himself. The yard was next to a garden, and everything was in bloom. The roses hung fresh and sweet over the fence. The linden trees were blooming. The swallows flew by and said, "Quirvit." "My husband has come." But they did not mean the fir tree. "Now, then, I will truly enjoy life," he said happily, and spread his branches. But, sadly, they were all dry and yellow. He lay in a corner, among weeds and stinging nettles. The gold star was still on the top of the tree and glittered in the sunshine. In the yard, some of the happy children were playing. They had danced around the fir tree at Christmas. They were so glad to see him. One of the youngest ran and pulled off the gold star. "Look what is still on the ugly old Christmas tree," he said, stepping on the branches so that they all cracked under his feet. And the tree saw all the beautiful flowers and the freshness in the garden. He saw himself. He wished he had stayed in his dark corner in the attic. He thought of his first youth in the wood, of the happy Christmas Eve, and of the little mice who had listened so happily to the story of Humpy-Dumpy. "It is over, it is past," said the poor tree. "If only I had been happy when I had reason to be. But now it is past, it is past." And the gardener's boy chopped the tree into small pieces. There was a whole pile of them. The wood burned brightly under the large pot for brewing. And it sighed so deeply. Each sigh was like a shot. The boys played in the yard. The youngest wore the gold star on his chest, which the tree had worn on the happiest evening of his life. However, that was over now. The tree was gone. The story was ended. All was over. Every story must end at last.